The hardest part of any journey is not the effort, the time, or even the uncertainty. It is simply beginning. So many people spend days, months, or even years waiting for the right moment, believing that clarity, confidence, or perfect conditions will arrive before they take their first step. But the truth is, that moment rarely comes on its own. Instead, what holds most people back is a quiet but powerful force: hesitation rooted in fear and overthinking. You might recognize it as that inner voice that keeps asking, "What if I fail?" Or "What if I'm not ready yet?" This cycle of doubt creates a mental loop where thinking replaces doing and intentions never turn into action. Inspired by the timeless principles associated with Dr. Joseph Murphy, this perspective reminds us that the mind plays a central role in either keeping us stuck or setting us free. When you continuously focus on uncertainty, your subconscious begins to treat hesitation as safety, reinforcing inaction as the default behavior. However, when you gently shift your focus toward movement, even small, imperfect steps, you begin to retrain your mind to associate action with progress and growth. The key is not to eliminate fear entirely, because fear is a natural part of stepping into something new. Instead, the goal is to act in spite of it, to recognize that waiting for fear to disappear is often just another form of delay. Action itself is what builds confidence, not the other way around. When you take that first step, no matter how small, you interrupt the cycle of overthinking and create momentum. That momentum, once started, has a powerful way of carrying you forward. It transforms uncertainty into experience and replaces doubt with evidence that you are capable of moving ahead. This is why starting is so important. It is the moment where possibility becomes reality. You do not need a flawless plan or complete certainty to begin. You only need a willingness to move forward despite not having all the answers. Every successful project, goal, or achievement you admire began in the same place, with someone deciding to start before they felt completely ready. By understanding how your thoughts influence your actions, you gain the ability to redirect your focus from fear to intention. Instead of asking whether you are ready, you begin to ask what small step you can take right now. That simple shift changes everything. It moves you out of your head and into real progress, where growth actually happens. Over time, these small actions build into habits, and those habits shape a mindset that naturally leans toward action rather than avoidance. The journey becomes less about waiting for motivation and more about creating it through consistent movement. And as you continue forward, you realize something powerful. The fear that once felt so overwhelming begins to lose its control, replaced by a growing sense of confidence that only action can create. Once you understand that action is the true source of confidence, the next step is learning how to move forward even when your mind tries to pull you back into old patterns of hesitation. This is where intentional control over your thoughts becomes essential. According to principles inspired by Dr. Joseph Murphy, your subconscious mind responds strongly to repetition and belief, meaning that whatever you consistently focus on begins to shape your reality. If you repeatedly tell yourself that you are not ready, your mind will continue to search for evidence to support that belief. On the other hand, if you begin to affirm, even quietly, that you are capable of starting now, your mind gradually shifts to support that direction. This is not about blind positivity or ignoring challenges. It is about choosing a mental direction that encourages movement instead of delay. One of the most effective ways to do this is by simplifying your next step to something so small that it feels almost impossible to resist. Instead of trying to plan everything at once, you focus on a single action that moves you forward, no matter how minor it may seem. This approach reduces overwhelm and makes progress feel accessible, even on days when motivation is low. As you take that small step, you begin to build trust in yourself, and that trust becomes the foundation for larger actions. Over time, you will notice that the gap between thinking and doing starts to shrink, and decisions become easier because you are no longer relying solely on how you feel in the moment. Another important shift is learning to accept imperfection as a natural part of the process. Many people delay starting because they want everything to be flawless from the beginning, but perfection is not what creates progress. Consistency does. Every step you take, even if it is imperfect, provides valuable feedback that helps you improve and adjust along the way. This creates a cycle where action leads to learning, and learning leads to better action. Gradually, fear loses its intensity because it is replaced by familiarity and experience. You begin to realize that most of the worst-case scenarios you imagined never actually happen, and even when things do not go as planned, you are still able to adapt and continue. This realization is incredibly freeing because it removes the pressure of needing everything to go perfectly before you begin. Instead, you start to see action as a process of discovery rather than a test of your worth or ability. As you continue to apply these ideas, your mindset begins to shift in a lasting way. You no longer wait for the perfect moment, because you understand that action itself creates the right conditions. The teachings associated with Dr. Joseph Murphy emphasize that when your thoughts and actions are aligned, you unlock a powerful sense of direction and purpose. This alignment allows you to move forward with clarity, even in uncertain situations, because you trust your ability to handle whatever comes next. And with each step you take, no matter how small, you strengthen that trust and reinforce a habit of action that continues to guide you forward. As you continue building this habit of action, you begin to notice a deeper transformation taking place within your mindset and daily behavior. What once felt difficult or intimidating gradually becomes more natural, and the resistance that used to slow you down starts to fade. This shift does not happen overnight, but it becomes stronger each time you choose to act instead of delay. One of the most powerful realizations at this stage is understanding that momentum is not something you wait for. It is something you create. The more consistently you take action, the easier it becomes to keep moving forward, because your mind begins to expect progress as the new normal. Inspired by the ideas associated with Dr. Joseph Murphy, this process reflects how the subconscious mind adapts to repeated patterns. When action becomes your habit, your subconscious starts to support that behavior automatically, reducing the internal struggle that once held you back. You are no longer fighting against yourself. Instead, your thoughts and actions begin working together in a more aligned and supportive way. This alignment allows you to approach challenges with a calmer and more focused mindset, rather than reacting with fear or hesitation. Another important element of this stage is learning how to handle setbacks without losing momentum. At some point, things will not go as planned, and you may feel the urge to stop or question your progress. However, setbacks are not a sign that you should quit. They are a natural part of growth. When you view them as learning opportunities instead of failures, you maintain your forward movement and continue building resilience. Each challenge you face strengthens your ability to adapt, and over time, you develop a level of confidence that is rooted in experience rather than assumption. This kind of confidence is far more stable because it is based on what you have done, not just what you hope to do. As you move further along this path, your focus begins to shift from simply starting to consistently improving. You become more aware of your patterns, your strengths, and the areas where you can grow. This awareness allows you to make better decisions and take more effective actions, creating a cycle of continuous progress. You also begin to recognize that action is not just about achieving a specific goal. It is about becoming the kind of person who follows through, who takes initiative, and who does not allow fear to dictate their choices. This identity shift is one of the most valuable outcomes of taking consistent action because it influences every area of your life. The teachings connected to Dr. Joseph Murphy remind us that when you consistently direct your thoughts toward growth and possibility, your actions naturally follow that direction. Over time, you build a mindset that is focused, resilient, and forward-moving, allowing you to approach new opportunities with confidence rather than hesitation. By continuing to take steps, no matter how small, you create a powerful foundation for long-term success, where action becomes second nature and progress becomes a constant part of your life.